This material is made available to you by or on behalf of the University of Melbourne under Section 113P of the Copyright Act 1968. It may be subject to copyright. For more information, visit the University Copyright website.
Welcome to the Management Consulting Semester 2 2021 information session. My name's Chris Young. I'm the subject coordinator in 2021, and I've put together this presentation to walk you through what is management consulting as a subject, what can you expect, and some of the key dates and application processes that you will need to know in order to apply for the subject. Along with myself, I also work with a team, particularly Joko Horace and Annie Dolan, who are part of the experiential learning team and coordinators that work and you may have contact with, and I'll come to their information a little bit later. All right, so let's get started. So it's a really common question, well, what is management consulting? Perhaps you've heard something from one of your fellow students who have taken this subject. Maybe you've come across an alumni that has participated and is now working out in practice. But what I want to do is break down what is management consulting and what can you gain from it. So the first thing really is it is an opportunity, and it is a great opportunity. You're having a chance through this subject to really learn what management consulting is in industry and in practice. So you're working with a team, you're working with professionals that are experienced in consulting and are teaching you and working with you to develop practices that are relevant and timely. It is also a great opportunity for you to develop industry research and analysis skills. You're going to be using the databases and white papers and consulting papers and range of information and research available through the UniMelb library and available through your client and other research to really understand how to find research that is extremely important to your client and is a skill that you can take with you into practice after graduation. You're also going to learn how to behave, and by that we mean what is appropriate in a professional setting in the business world, and how do you write and present information at a level that is expected when you're a professional and you're working in business. You're also going to have that opportunity to experience a real consulting project. So this is not a student level project. This is actually in practice working with clients who are working with their clients, who are being paid, who are presenting professional level work in a real business environment. And then finally, it's a great opportunity for you to build your professional network. Certainly with the team that you'll be assigned to, but also a professional network outside of University of Melbourne. So with the subject coordinator, with the team that you'll be working with, the consulting individuals at the client site, and perhaps other clients that they're working with as well. So why would you want to do management consulting? It's for the reasons I've just listed, but also this idea around real consulting experience. There is a consulting process that you will take with you that applies in not just one company and not just one project. Consulting process, how to go about understanding a problem, researching, working to client expectations, working with deliverables, all of those pieces of information are incredibly important if you plan or have an interest in working in consulting. You learn how to negotiate with clients. They may have certain expectations of you. You have certain expectations from the university. And how do you negotiate and manage so that you can deliver to what they're looking for? How do you scope a project? How do you say yes to certain items? How do you say no to other items? And again, that comes with that negotiating. How do you plan for research? Every one of you listening will have done research before in your university subjects, but how do you plan for deep dive into research? How do you not only do secondary research, but how do you perhaps conduct primary research where you're interviewing, observing, surveying, questioning individuals and getting raw data? And then once you have that data, how do you collect it and analyze it so that it can make sense, that you can find patterns, and you can provide real value from raw data or secondary data to your client? And then how do you get good at making recommendations that make sense, that add value, and are based on evidence? These are incredible skills that you'll gain from management consulting. A question we often have is not only what is management consulting, but also what is it not? So what it's not is work experience. You do gain experience in consulting, but it's not a work experience program. It is not an internship. And by this, you don't work for the company. What you do is you're working with the company. You're providing consulting information. You're providing what we call deliverables, but you don't work for the company. And you're not there specifically to learn finance. If you're working with or consulting with the company and it's a bank, you're not there to learn banking or risk, insurance. We've had clients with AFL. You're not there to learn football per se. What you are there is to learn the process of consulting and those items I've highlighted, but not there to learn specifically about the topic of the client or the area of the client. So what is it? You're going to learn the process and the tools of consulting. There certainly is a process with a consulting project. It starts with an initial problem or program or problem statement and a brief for what the client is looking for, understanding the context and the situation that they find themselves in. How do you use tools like issue trees? How to use data collection plans? Those specific tools that help you work towards providing value to your client. And you're going to apply this process in a real organization, real time, across 12 weeks. There are many different types of consulting projects and clients, and that's really important because no matter who you're placed with, you're really learning about the process, and that means when you complete the subject and you go to work in consulting, perhaps after graduation, you've learned a process and skills and tools that you can apply regardless of who is the company or client that you're working for. So what you're learning here is how to be a consultant. And you're learning how to be a consultant and to be a consultant for your client when you're still in a great opportunity for direct and immediate feedback, when you have the coaching support in a team and you're learning the process before you're actually working in consulting at a later date or upon graduation, and it's a different approach in terms of you being paid and you are working and there's a lot more writing on it. You're learning how to be a consultant before you get to that stage. Common question we have is, what are the projects like? Well, we have a wide range of projects, and this is really exciting. The projects are timely and they're absolutely relevant to the client. It may be something that they're faced with for their own clients and they want to know more information. It might be a problem with something that's happening more socially or environmentally that's directly affecting the client. But regardless of what it is, whether it's strategic or operational, whether it's about developing a product, doing a marketing strategy, analyzing the business, all of these are real business problems and real opportunities, real pain points for the client that you're going to have a chance to work on. Pretty exciting. We have a wide range of host organizations. We have large multinationals, meaning they work across many different countries. We have small to medium enterprises, small to medium businesses. We certainly have not-for-profit organizations, member associations. So for example, we've worked with CPA organization, which oversees the folks that have the certification for accounting. We work with government agencies, and you can see a few examples there. We're working with some of the top consulting companies. We're working with individuals. We're working with their AFL Sports, Treasury Corporation of Victoria. So a wide range, and no matter which project you're placed on, in the 12 weeks, the project and the company that you're placed on is less important, I stress, than the process that you're going to learn and the tools that you're going to learn going forward. So what are you going to be signing up for? Well, here's what we ask for you in a commitment to attend lectures, workshops, and consultations. So lectures run an hour a week on Mondays. Workshops run 2 hours a week on Mondays. And then you have consultations as required with your assigned coach. You also have client visits. So the way it runs is you will nominate the days and times that you're available, and then you're assigned a specific day and time with your client. And you're expected, your commitment is that you will be available online in this case for semester 2 for 4 hours every week, where you're working with your teammates, and also the client is available at times during that 4-hour block to meet with you to discuss the client project. And that's important to mention, is that in semester 2 it will be running on semester 2 2021, it will be running remotely online, and so that's something to consider as well. We expect you to be committed to your team and commitment to good teamwork. These projects require everybody to contribute, and that's always been the case. We're working with the best students for this subject, and we find that the teamwork is pretty extraordinary, and that folks are developing relationships with each other, supporting, and also working together to really brainstorm and deliver to the client. So that's a great commitment, but also a great benefit. That it's going to be self-directed. Now, this doesn't mean that you're on your own. We certainly provide lectures and workshops and consultation and support, both through the Canvas system and also through the coach that you're assigned, and also through the client. But a lot of what you're doing is self-directed. You can certainly talk about the research you're going to do, but then you need to go do the research, and it's self-directed. You can talk about what the structure of a report is, but then you need to do research around the elements of a report to really put that together. So we will provide you with great support and great information, but just know that you need to have a commitment to going above and beyond what we provide you and being self-directed in your learning. And also, finally, a willingness to be an active learner. And really the opposite of an active learner is a passive learner, somebody that just sort of sits back and absorbs information. And instead, we recognize that you're taking this subject perhaps because you're interested in consulting, because you want to go into consulting for sure, you want to work on these industry projects. And by that very nature, we expect that the cohort are active learners. But it does make sense to mention this, that it does, with that self-directed learning, it does require you to be active and proactive in seeking out information, asking questions, and learning. There's a couple of what we call deliverables, so that's a consulting term you'll come to learn. So there's deliverables for the subject. So things like a project charter, which is, you would have taken OB, is around, project charter is around how are we going to work together, what are the expectations for the team, that sense of working together. Sorry, that's a team contract, apologies. The project charter is a deliverable for the client. So let me rephrase that. We have a team contract that's an internal, but these are deliverables for the client. So the project charter is the understanding of what you're going to do for the client. What is what we call in scope, what is out of scope, and it's basically the promise that you're making to the client based on the first 4 or 5 weeks of working with them about what you're going to deliver to them across the semester. You will be working on issue trees, which is a tool, a mechanism of breaking down a problem into pieces that you can then develop into what we call a data collection plan or a research plan that informs the research everybody does, what documents you're going to go to, where you're going to source, what websites, where you're going to source particular pieces of information to feed back into the issue tree to then answer the primary question that your client is seeking to answer. You're going to do a team presentation to the client, and then you're going to put together a 5,000-word professional report for your client. So there's some key deliverables there for the client across the semester. What are some of the things that you're going to gain from this experience? Well, I know it says here it depends on your attitude, and my experience, having been involved with this subject now for years, is that the attitude is strong, it's positive. You apply because you want to be there and you really want to gain the benefit of the items I've listed before. But what else are you going to gain? You're certainly going to gain real consulting experience, and once you finish the subject, that stays with you. That continues. That's something no one can take away from you, that you can then take and build on and jump from into either other projects, other experience, or perhaps consulting in the future. You're going to gain networking opportunities within your team, within your workshop, within the seminar, the whole 60 cohort, and also with your clients. You're going to be able to take all of those subjects and that knowledge that you have gained, whether you're in finance or marketing, whatever the area is, you're going to build on that and apply that to a work world experience. It says real world, but work world experience. You're going to develop great professional skills, things like teamwork and communication. I've worked in HR, I've done hiring of graduates, I've worked on consulting projects, and I can't stress enough how important teamwork and communication is. You need to do it well, and the absence of teamwork and the absence of communication skills has really hindered and served as a great roadblock in my experience of graduates being able to progress forward in their career. You're going to learn how to research well. It's a hugely valuable skill. And also how to present your information in a way that sells what you're trying to sell, is making clear points and is of use and value and is able to be understood by the people you work with, and in this case by your clients. And lastly, let's not underestimate the way the world is going. We are now working remotely. That was drastically thrown upon all of us in 2020. And what we're finding now is that companies often are not returning to on-site. They're still working either in a hybrid model, on-site and online, or they're working entirely online and remotely. So this opportunity that you're going to have to understand how to work well remotely is something you'll actually be able to put on your CV, that you've worked on a remote project, that you've managed the sort of technology, the teamwork, the communication necessary in a remote environment. That's a huge benefit to you. Okay, so what does it take to be eligible for management consulting? It's open as an elective to all Bachelor of Commerce students. That said, you can also apply if you're not a Bachelor of Commerce student. Now, some criteria: you have to have a minimum of 150 points, minimum WAM of 65%, and you need to have completed OB, and you can't have previously taken GMC. We have a selection process. There is an application that you'll fill out, and you need to meet the eligibility criteria. You need to have a minimum of a 65% WAM and provide answers to the application questions. Now, we may also ask you to participate in an interview. We will know that once the applications come in. So if you are requested by me to have an interview with me as the subject coordinator, well, then that will also form part of the selection criteria. Finally, once you receive an official offer, you must have an up-to-date CV as part of your acceptance, and that's because that CV then goes on to your client to inform them of who they will be working with. Applications open on the 19th of April, and they're open until Sunday, the 16th of May, 2021. So you need to complete an online application form, do the round one of shortlisting. Shortlisted students may receive a request for an interview, and then finally successful students will be sent an offer, and then you would accept the offer, knowing that the intake is capped at 60 spaces for this subject. Okay, so applications, I mentioned, open the 19th of April. I will be hosting a live question and answer information session on Tuesday the 27th of April from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and then applications will close on the 16th of May. Students are advised of interviews by, at latest, a few days later, by Friday the 21st of May if you are asked to participate. Those interviews will take place during this time period of 31 May to 4 June, and then finally the final outcomes will be mailed Tuesday the 8th of June to successful applicants. A couple things to consider. This subject does require that you put together a bound, professionally printed and bound report. The cost of that printing and binding is the responsibility of you as a team, and you should plan to contribute about $20 to $30 towards this cost. And then this bound report is provided to the client. Okay, so a couple things to help you prepare your application. You can certainly go to this link. The Careers website and the Careers Center for University of Melbourne has information on putting together a resume, talking about how interviewing, if that's something that you end up being asked to do, and some other skills and resources. So you're not alone in putting your application together. There's great UniMelb resources available to you. If you have any questions, I would ask you to please email fbe-careers capstonestudies@unimelb.edu.au with any questions you have about the application process. So rather than emailing me as subject coordinator, we have a dedicated team and a dedicated mailbox that will answer any questions that you have. And finally, you can go ahead and scan this code or click on this website and it will take you to additional information about the management consulting subject. I really hope you do apply. It is a fantastic subject. It keeps me coming back year after year, and I'm thrilled to be coordinating the subject, and I hope that we have a chance to work together and that you put forth an application. Good luck, everyone, and I hope you'll attend the Q&A session on Tuesday, the 27th of April. I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks. Bye now.